So OnePlus is currently in the process of doing a complete UI revamp with Oxygen OS 11, which is based off Android 11, and that isn't official yet. In fact, just last week, OnePlus rolled out a developer preview for existing OnePlus 8 and OnePlus 8 Pro users. They asked them to try it out, see what they think for themselves, because they said they've been working on something new, refreshing, and they appreciate feedback, which is great. I love when companies do that. But as always, when you decide to introduce change, especially when it comes to the core of the user experience, which in this case is the operating system, the way how the user interacts with the OS, when it comes to app navigation, and of course going through settings and just the general usage, you're obviously going to generate two types of audience. The first group, they would love this new refreshing look. They'll be like, hey, it's something new, we like it. And there's going to be other side, like, that's probably going to go, why? Why change something that's already working pretty well? If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So in this video, I'm going to walk you through what's new with Oxygen OS 11, walk you through some of the new changes that they've done to the UI, and what you can expect when it officially gets rolled out to your existing OnePlus device. Now, I also have to mention that there are certain resemblances to another operating system that shall remain unknown. Actually, I will quickly mention that later in the video, but overall, I really like it. So let's get started right after this.
The Razer Viper Ultimate, the lightest and fastest wireless mouse designed for esports with an accurate Focus Plus 20K DPI optical sensor, Razer Hyperspeed wireless technology that is 25% faster than the competition, all packed into a lightweight body with optical mouse switches. Check it out below.
All right, before I get any further in, huge disclaimer. This is something that you have to keep in mind as you're watching this video. This is a beta build. It's not stable. It's not the final version, which is supposedly set to launch or roll out at the end of 2020. So if you have an existing OnePlus 8 or 8 Pro smartphone, install it at your own risk. Personally, I'd stick away from it because you want to make sure that your daily driver is just running fine. You don't want to run into any issues. So just a word of caution. Okay, so one of the features that they've added to Oxygen OS 11 is the ability to enable ambient display all day long, which naturally drains your battery significantly, and they've added a handful of cool new clock styles. My personal favorite is Insight. It actually shows how many times you've unlocked your phone, and it leaves a groove on the bar, so the more you use your smartphone, that clock widget starts moving downwards toward that red area, and that's just a gentle reminder saying that you've used your smartphone for way too long. You might want to cut back on that a little bit, which I'm slowly trying to do, so yeah. I will say that some of the other clock styles are similar to what you'll find on Samsung devices, and you'll probably hear me say that over and over again as I'm walking you through the new UX change. The home screen looks familiar to Oxygen OS 10, except for the icons. They've made it a bit more minimal and consistent with the circular shape across the board. The notifications shade has been updated as well. They've categorized conversations and your other app notifications, which is pretty neat. It's also slightly larger, making it easier to adjust screen brightness with just one hand. You'll also notice that OS 11 shows the day and date in both condensed and the expanded mode, which I like. In case you haven't noticed, OnePlus has shifted their company logo and color scheme a few months ago with a new font choice and a new color palette. They've brought that change to the operating system as well. The new font's called OnePlus Sans, so it's replacing the iconic slate font that we're used to, and I like it. Perhaps the biggest change you'll encounter is when you hop into settings. As you can see, the title is pretty bold and big, and this is something that you'll start to notice with other primary apps like Messages and Dialer and things like that. They've shifted the tabs to adjust your basic settings downwards so that you can easily reach them with one hand. Every icon feature has an outline which looks pretty sweet, and yes, there are certain resemblances to Samsung's One UI in terms of grouping them, but I don't mind it as long as it works. OnePlus's primary applications like Messenger, Phone Dialer, and Gallery have received a slight change as well. So if you look at the dialer, the numpad is condensed and the spacing is even, plus it's easier to reach versus Oxygen OS 10 where it just seems scattered across. The Gallery app is well organized, it's grouped by dates chronologically, and it shows the location as well. I prefer this over Google's Photos, to be honest, because the new update for that app killed the ease of use for me personally. I also really like the new weather app, and this is something that I do see myself using constantly over the Google weather app, because there's hourly forecast, daily forecast, and it's all organized really, really well. Not to mention, with every new operating system, you are going to get a few new wallpapers. I personally like the one that I have right over here. It certainly matches the Aura Glow on the OnePlus 8, definitely. Overall, I really like what OnePlus has done with Oxygen OS 11. This isn't the final build yet. In fact, they still have a lot more to port from the official Android 11 build that Google is currently working on. So I'm excited to see what the future OnePlus devices are, especially with the new OS update and the way how phones are going to be shaping in the next few years. Because while stock Android is great, it's clean and minimal, I think it's time for change. And I think OnePlus did something bold. People might not like it, that's completely fine, but it might take a little while to get used to. Now, there is one thing that I do have to point out, and it's a little glitch that I noticed on my OnePlus 8. So if I pull up the application drawer, it actually doesn't go all in towards the edges. As you can see, there's quite a little bit of gap, or it doesn't fully expand edge to edge. I'm not sure if that's a glitch or if that's done on purpose, but that is just a little bit odd. Hopefully the final build can address and fix that issue. And lastly, I really wish, and this is just something that has been on my wish list for a really, really long time. You see, with every Android device, there are these really cool developers working on Google APKs, Google Camera Mod APKs for those phones to significantly improve the camera experience, or the camera quality, or the picture quality coming out of those phones. I've done a video on that separately. In fact, I'll leave a link down below, or you can check it out right over here. It's a it makes a huge difference when it comes to image processing. If OnePlus can only work with those developers to integrate that into their native camera app, I think that would totally change the smartphone camera industry as a whole. Because right now, the cameras on OnePlus phones, they're great. I mean, the OnePlus 8 Pro has a pretty good camera, but OnePlus 8 is not that great. So hopefully they can work on something like that. Again, this is something that's on my wish list. Hopefully it works out. Maybe if not, you know, one can only dream. But either way, that's pretty much it. This is just a quick short video on what you can expect with Oxygen OS 11. If you are an existing OnePlus owner, if you have a OnePlus 7 Pro, OnePlus 7T, or any other OnePlus device, are you excited for this update? Have you tried it as well? If you have a OnePlus 8 or 8 Pro, let me know in the comments down below. I'm Ibor with Hardware Canucks. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.